What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Total Takedown. This is the episode for UFC 289. We're talking overs and unders. If you want the full card breakdown with in-depth analysis of every single fight on this card, make sure you check out Monday's live stream right here on Pub Sports Radio. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Let's get into this bad boy. First fight of the night, you've got Diana Belbita taking on Maria Oliveira. The total is 2.5. Over is minus 290. The under 2.5 is plus 245. And, I know it's not customary. It's not customary on the Total Takedown, but I think I'm breaking out the tinfoil cap a little early this week on this one. That's right, it's a big pay-per-view week. We're going hard or we're going home. I've got a feeling this thing is going under. So Diana Belbita is incredibly athletic. She's very young. She's taken a year off since her last fight. She's got heavy hands. I think there's a lot of room for her to improve. Her opponent, Maria Oliveira, is a bona fide savage. In her last fight, she was licking the blood off of her hands, BJ Penn style, after busting her opponent up, and she will stand right in front of you and trade. Neither of these women is spectacular on the ground, which always means in women's MMA, there's going to be an arm dangling out there for somebody to snatch. I think this fight's going under. I think someone's going to find a way to a finish. I actually kind of think it's going to be Diana Belbita. I think she has the higher ceiling of the two, but I would not be at all shocked if in a scramble somebody got rocked and hurt and an arm got taken home. We're going to say under 2.5 to go ahead and start the show here for this one, plus 245. Next up, we've got Steve Erceg coming in on short notice, taking on David Dvorak. We got another 2.5 here. The over 2.5 is minus 170. The under 2.5 is plus 150. Now, I'm a big fan of David Dvorak. I think the kid is solid pretty much everywhere this fight goes. Erceg, however, is not a bad opponent. The UFC has been trying to get him on the Contender Series or even just get him a short notice debut for quite some time now. He's finally got his opportunity. He is dangerous everywhere. I think Dvorak is simply going to be too big and too strong for him to handle. This is going to be a rude awakening of levels. He's going to deal with somebody who's got a physicality that he's never faced before, but I think he'll be able to hang in the fight. I don't expect David Dvorak to get the finish on Steve, so I kind of think the over 2.5 makes sense in this spot. Minus 170 is a little pricey, especially for a short notice kid who's got the type of offense that Erceg does. The 2.5 going under would not really surprise me. I am not betting this fight, especially not from a totals perspective. Next up, Blake Bilder taking on Kyle the Monster Nelson. We got another 2.5 total. Over 2.5 is plus 110. Under 2.5 is minus 130. And I like under yet again. Give me some violence here. Now, I do worry about this one getting into that third round. Kyle Nelson has kind of a poor gas tank. We've seen him get chipped away. We've seen him get tired out. We've seen him get hurt. And I think that's what Blake Bilder can do to him. But let's not forget, in round one, Kyle Nelson hits really, really hard. He's got a ton of power. He's very aggressive. He's got those big hooks. He's going to have a size advantage here. I definitely think both guys have some finishing upside. So as much as I think Blake Bilder is going to drag Kyle Nelson deep and drown him, I also know that Blake Bilder's been chinned a couple of times. He's been wobbled around a little bit, and some big, strong power puncher like Kyle Nelson could put that nail in the coffin. Give me under 2.5. Next up, Aiemann Zahabi taking on Aori Quilang. This is yet another one. Orichilang, I believe is how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. I look at the letters and I say the way they sound. This is another 2.5 spot. Over 2.5 is minus 200. The under 2.5 is plus 175. I have no idea what's going to happen in this fight. Now, Orichilang is really big, or at least was really big at 125. Now that he's fighting up permanently at 135, I'm not entirely sure what to expect from him. I think his opponent, Aiemann Zahabi, is extremely well-rounded. We've seen him do some pretty good things. He's got decent power in his hands. He's pretty solid everywhere, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen in this fight. This is the one where I've got the worst read on the entire card. I simply have no idea. Part of me wants to say violence, but Aiemann Zahabi has been very tough and very durable, and we've seen Orichilang go to the judges' scorecards a lot over the course of his career. Even though he's big, even though he hits hard, he doesn't manage to actually finish a lot of people. So I'll say over 2.5, but I'm going nowhere near that minus 200 price tag. Jasmine Jasudavicius is taking on Miranda Maverick. We've got another 2.5 here. Over is minus 340. Under 2.5, plus 280. And I think there's only one way this fight finishes, and that's if Jasmine gasses out and Miranda Maverick taps her out. I don't think either of these women have the power to hurt the other one on the feet. We're going to get a primary wrestling type of game plan fight. I think Jazz can stick the jab in Miranda's face for 15 minutes, so I definitely think this fight is going over. I definitely think it's going 15 minutes. If you don't think it's going 15 minutes, then really Miranda Maverick inside the distance or by sub is probably the only way that you want to look. The toughness and durability that both these women have shown leads me to believe that they're both going to have trouble finishing the other. Chris Curtis, Nassourdine Imavov, another 2.5. I don't think we have a 1.5 on this entire dang card. We've got Curtis over 2.5, minus 160, under 2.5, plus 140. And I almost lean to violence on this one. You know, the last couple of Chris Curtis fights, there's been some controversy. They've gone ways that he hasn't liked. You've got the, the rough end to that second round that swayed everything. Maybe he starts this fight quick. It's a short notice turnaround fight for Chris Curtis, who's incredibly durable. That's really always been his moniker, is he's impossible to put away. So I think Nassourdine Imavov is going to have a tough time getting Chris out of there. But if Chris forces a gunfight because he doesn't want to go to another bad, sketchy decision, then we could see this thing fireworks much, much earlier, which could lead to either guy being finished. I'm going to go ahead and say under 2.5. I don't feel very confident in that, but I will go ahead and lean with violence. Eryk, your boy Anders, takes on Marc-André Barriault up next. 2.5, over 2.5 is minus 165. The under 2.5 is plus 145. And kind of the same thing as the last fight. I think we've got two extremely durable fighters in this spot. You know, Marc-André Barriault, yeah, he got head kicked by Chidi and Jaquani. But besides that, this guy's tough to finish. And Eryk Anders does not have the gas tank to press or the submission chops of a Fluffy Hernandez to get this guy to tire out and submit him in the third round. I think they're going to kind of car crash against each other the way we've seen these guys do. Once Eryk Anders gets a little tired and slows down, he really manages his pace. He really controls that space. There's lots of cage grinding, and I think this is going to be a classic Marc-André Barriault fight. These guys have a very similar style, and I actually think minus 165 is a really cheap price tag. I think this fight is going a full 15 minutes. I know a lot of people out there are expecting a finish here. Frankly, I'm not sure why. I think this one goes over 2.5 pretty handily. Next up, Nate Landwehr taking on Dan Ige, a 2.5 total once again. Over 2.5 is plus 105, under 2.5 minus 125, and I agree with the under here. Nate Landwehr does tend to cause car crashes. He comes out fast, he comes out hard, and Dan Ige is a guy who we know is never going to break and never going to gas. He is made out of complete steel. I think Dan Ige is going to knock Nate Landwehr out, frankly. I know that's a one-sided breakdown. If he doesn't knock out Nate Landwehr is going to have to break him. And nobody in the UFC so far has been able to pull that off. I don't think Dan Ige breaks, quite frankly. So as much as I think Dan is going to knock out Nate, I only think the finish comes from the Dan Ige side. Nate has been a bit of a finisher before, but you've seen in his last couple fights, he is more than willing to go high-paced, full 15 minutes. So it makes it tough for me to give a total readout on this one, because I'd rather take Dan Ige by knockout than the under 2.5 at minus 125. So I'm going to say under, but you guys know you'll get a better price tag if you just rock with Dan Ige. Adam Fugitt and Mike Malott here with another 2.5 total. Over 2.5 is plus 210. The under 2.5 is minus 240, and that's insanity. This is a big-time under 2.5. Usually you just get a 1.5 at a pick'em price tag with this kind of a line on it. I'm not sure what they're doing making this kind of chalk on a 2.5 instead. Bump it down to a 1.5 and get us a more playable number. Obviously, I like violence here. I think everyone likes violence here. Adam Fugitt might be a better wrestler than Mike Malott, though. So if he does go ahead and take this thing to the ground, I think Mike Malott's better at submission jiu-jitsu, submission grappling, so he's going to have to mind his P's and Q's. But if he does that, maybe he could extend this fight. On the feet, both these guys have knockout power. On the feet, we've seen both these guys hurt and wobbled and rocked, and we've seen Adam knocked out. So, actually, we have seen Mike Malott knocked out as well by Hakeem Dawodu, no less. So, I think there's a lot of opportunities for this fight to finish. This is not your Alex Caceres of last week, because both these guys go for the throat, and both these guys are more than capable of getting that finish. So, I think the under 2.5, but that minus 240 is just awful. You'd have to parlay that or something. Beneil Dariush taking on Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Same exact situation in this spot here. Over 2.5 is plus 170. The under 2.5 is minus 200, and it's under. It's under all day. I mean, we've got Beneil Dariush, who's got the wrestling chops to stay safe. He's got the high-level jiu-jitsu to stay safe. He's got big power to go ahead and knock Charles Oliveira's head around like we've seen in every single fight he's been in for the last 3 years. Charles Oliveira, I don't want to call him a glass cannon because he's not exactly glass. He gets back up, but he does get rocked and knocked down in like every single fight that he's in. But he sure is a cannon. This guy's got the most high prolific offense. He's the most prolific finisher in UFC history. So we can't say anything but under whenever Charles Oliveira fights. Benny, if he comes in full shell defense, then I think this thing could go over. But considering it's a 3-round fight with title implications on the line, I think we see both guys really go for it. So under 2.5. Give me violence yet again. Your main event, Irene Aldana taking on Amanda Nunes. Another 2.5 total, believe it or not. Like I said, not a single 1.5, the entire dang card. Over 2.5 is minus 125. The under 2.5 is plus 105. And I think that over makes a ton of sense. I know these women are very large. I know they have a lot of finishing upside. But at the same time, we have seen them both go the distance more than once. And I think what's going to happen is Irene Aldana, we've seen her taken down. We've seen her physically controlled. If she can't land that left hand, she's not nearly as dangerous. She's working on that submission game, so there is that chance for the finish. There is that upside there. But Amanda Nunes absolutely can go with the cage control, cage push, slow it down, offensively wrestle. I think she can do a lot of those things here against Irene Aldana, where she might just have that physical edge, especially early in the fight. Now, Gas Tank having that physical edge deeper in the fight, I'm not so sure. But for the first 2 rounds, I think Amanda Nunes probably can just kind of push Irene Aldana around. I think this fight gets up and over 2.5. And it's rare that we get these women MMA totals like this with these kinds of numbers. Last week, I told you, usually you want to go ahead and just take that under, because if they set you at 2.5 at even money, they usually end in the first round anyway, and you never even have to sweat it. That's exactly what happened last week. But this is one of the other ones that I was talking about, where actually we should take the value on that over. I think this is a fight where high stakes, both women are definitely here to win, retain the belt. Nobody wants to lose. There's going to be a feeling out process, and I don't think either of them is bum rushing the other one. I think it'll be more technical and respectful to get started, and then Nunes is going to want to drag Aldana into deep waters. So I think we have an over 2.5, minus 125. That makes sense. That is the total takedown, everybody. Join me tomorrow for the undefeated post-weigh-in show, where we get our final reads, put all of our bets together, and then make some money at a big pay-per-view card this weekend. Good luck on all your degenerate action, including PFL that kicks off here in just a couple of minutes. Let's roll, everybody. Have a great day.